His goal, to surpass Mr. Beast and become the biggest YouTuber on the planet. Welcome to Chasing Dragons. I'm your host, Noah Chrysler. This is a show where I sit down with creative entrepreneurs to explore the dragons that they're chasing, those big, bold goals that drive them. But we're not just talking business, we're digging into the beliefs that shape their journey. What's fueling them, what's holding them back, and with their permission, gently challenging those beliefs to help them level up. Because real breakthroughs don't just come from hustle, they come from self-understanding and emotional discovery. When entrepreneurs grow themselves, their businesses follow. Ferd, you ready to get into Chasing Dragons?
Yeah, let's jump in. I'm super excited.
Sick. I've got your intro here. Here we go. It's kind of written like a Marvel, like origin story type of a fucking superhero.
Okay, awesome.
Here we go. Today, my guest is Ferd. Ferd is a rising star in the world of YouTube Shorts, one of the rare creators who not only understands the algorithm, but knows how to consistently beat it. In the past month alone, his channel pulled in $10,000 in ad revenue, powered entirely by short-form content. But Ferd isn't just chasing views, he's chasing greatness. His goal, to surpass Mr. Beast and become the biggest YouTuber on the planet. Right now, he writes, edits, and ideates everything himself, building a viral content machine almost entirely solo. What sets him apart isn't just hustle, it's instinct. Ferd spends hours each day obsessing over what makes his ideas spread. He knows that in this game, good gear can't save a bad concept, but a great idea, that can go global with nothing but a phone. He's building toward a future where a full creative team helps him scale, but for now, it's pure willpower, vision, and creativity driving the engine. Ferd, welcome to Chasing Dragons. What'd you think? Decent intro?
What an amazing intro.
Anything we got wrong? Anything you want to update?
Just one part, it was amazing, but just one part is that about the almost entirely solo, that my friend, I just want to, shout out, because without him, it wouldn't be possible. Just, how much he helps me, like moral support and like just with the filming and stuff too.
Hell yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, he's you mentioned that he's your camera guy mostly, and he's just your partner in crime, yeah?
Exactly, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for correcting that, by the way. That should be something that I do at every single one of these where it's like, hey, what did I screw up? Because that's really good. Cool. Okay. So here is what has happened so far, Ferd, and I want to give you kind of the outline of what the conversation will hopefully look like here. So cool. So far, Ferd has completed an intake interview with ChatGPT. Ferd, by the way, you nailed that. Thank you so much for doing that. Some people kind of beef that, but you fucking nailed it. So thank you so much, because that's really helpful. I have poured over that interview like a crazy compulsive person. And I've tried to identify some areas where Ferd might have some limiting beliefs, things that he might not have fully thought through, and where he could kind of unlock some progress and make some progress on his business. Those four areas that we're going to talk about in this conversation. The first one is hiring. The second one is sustainability and creative confidence. The third one is vision for his company and ownership. And the fourth one is revenue readiness. Sound good?
So excited.
Here we go. Beautiful. Sorry, the intro gets a little slow, but Michael's gonna help us out. He's gonna help us cut stuff up. Here we go. First thing is hiring. Cool. So Ferd, tell me about. So you've had a month where you've made $10,000, right? It sounds like that's been a high month, but it's not your only high month, right? It sounds like you have some operating income and some cash in the bank to work on this business with, right? Tell me about how you've tried to invest that money into hiring people.
So I have not invested any money into hiring people except paying my friend who also lives with me.
Oh,
so I don't have any. Yeah, no, I haven't even thought about it, just because for the past months, my peak month before this month was $4,500, and that was last month. Yeah. So yeah, so it's like this is really the first time where I'm experiencing the kind of exponential revenue growth.
Sure, that makes sense. And so for me to bash on that and be like, how come you haven't hired anybody is stupid and not good. So do you mind if you tell me like real numbers, like how much cash do you think you have on hand right now to potentially, or I mean, just like in general, not to potentially, but like,
oh no, I'll tell you.
No,
right now I'm actually negative, like, probably about $1,000.
Got it. Okay. Why? Explain that to me.
It's like I really like to reinvest everything into the channel, and also like food and stuff like that. But so once I get the next AdSense check, I'm gonna be I'll have like around $9K.
Got it.
Or
Okay.
8K, 7 to 8K because I need to pay my friend.
Got it. Where,
Yeah.
okay, why are you $1,000 in the hole? Where have you been investing that money? Just on like props and things for videos?
On props, on like food and like travel.
Got it. Okay. Props, food, and travel. Where did you travel recently for your video?
Yeah, I visited my girlfriend.
Got it.
Shout out
Okay.
her.
Got it. I love it. Where's your girlfriend at? And where are you based? You're in New York City, aren't you?
I'm in New York City, yeah, and she's in Maryland.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you mind if I ask what your rent is? Is that weird to ask? Like, what?
No, it's not weird at all. No,
Beautiful.
that's why we're on the pod to figure out everything, right?
Yeah.
So my rent is $330 a month because
In New York City? What the fuck?
yeah, I live with my parents. So
Okay. Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha. Dude, no judgment there. That's fucking sick, dude. Smooch your parents right on the lips and be like, thank you so much, because that's so cool. How old are you? Do you mind if I ask?
I'm 22.
Got it. Cool. Dude, you're at the start. You're gonna be so famous. That's so cool.
Thanks, Noah.
Cool. Absolutely. Got it. Okay, so you're about a negative $1,000. Is that on a credit card or something?
It's a loan with my dad.
Got it. Okay. We owe dad $1,000. Cool.
Yep.
Here's some stuff that you probably know, but I want to make sure that we fully understand. Entrepreneurship is about money, right? It's like your business will be more successful if you have more personal power. And one huge element of personal power is your personal finances, right? And so like if you can live frugally, if you can put yourself in a financial position where you feel secure and safe, right? Like you will be much more positioned to think strategically, to reinvest in your business, and to not make decisions based out of fear that usually lack strategy. Does that all make sense? And have you thought through
that?
That
really makes sense that you bring that up. And living frugally is something that I need to work on. I think that my default is going out and buying food. That's really the only thing I spend money on. Like I don't buy clothes and stuff like that. I just buy food. I just buy like Chipotle. So that's something I need to work on, definitely.
If you had to ballpark like how much you think you spend a month on food. And by the way, this is also one thing I've learned about personal finance is like people always get it wrong. So like you should like look at this objectively in your bank statements, my opinion, when you're trying to take control over your finances. But how much do you think you're spending on food each month?
Ballpark on food. I mean, I probably average like 15 a day.
Okay.
So that's what, like
it's like 500 a month or so.
Yeah, 450, 500.
Yeah, I will say that that's probably very low. If you're like if you're having kind of money issues, yeah, it's probably a very low estimate, right? So I would one take a very hard look at like how much am I actually spending, and then I would also try to get very clear on like when I go and I spend all this money on these things, right? Like what am I giving up, right? Like because you're probably giving up like money that you could be investing back into your goal, right? So like so I don't know, every time maybe that's bad because like, you know, you also don't want to develop like a money disorder where it's like, okay, every time I go to Chipotle, I'm like making my success less likely. Like that's probably some weird shit in there. But like you know, I don't know. Maybe that's maybe a little bit of that is good. So I don't know. Anyway, cool. Okay, so you haven't really hired anybody. You do have some money coming in. You're gonna have this financial windfall of like $9,000 coming in next month, which is fantastic. What is your plan for that money?
So my plan for that money is to, number one, I just want to address what you said, that I think that's like so smart what you said about being conscious of spending the money, especially on something like food, because with food, you can so easily eat just as healthily by buying groceries and eating at home. Like you don't have to spend that much money every day. So I'm totally going to implement that. And now you said, what am I going to do with the money? I'm going to have the no fear attitude when it comes to investing in videos. So when you only have like, you know, $1,000 in the bank, right? You kind of have to think a little bit about investing in props and videos and stuff like that. And with some shorts, it's really easy to spend like $100, $150 like on a short easily. Like, especially because with the food shorts, which I do a decent amount of, you have to buy like all these different ingredients from the store, and like that can be like $40, $50. And then especially if you have another prop, like, you know, easily another like $20, $30 on Amazon. So just go in and like remove all the fear of being able to reinvest.
Sure.
Because I think as content creators, that's what we do, is that we use our capital to try to create cool videos. And the more capital you have, the less you have to be concerned with how cool you can make your video.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so your plan for the $9,000 is to reinvest everything. Well, one, we're gonna pay back Dad because Dad's awesome. We're living with Dad, so we really owe Dad.
That's priority.
Hell yeah, we love Dad. Yeah, no, make them happy and be like, hey, can I please continue to live here for as long as you'll have me? Cool. So we pay back Dad, then we're gonna reinvest in videos. We're gonna buy more snacks from Target to make viral shorts with, and we're gonna buy more props and things.
I don't think I'm allowed back in Target, honestly.
Really? Did you get kicked out of a Target?
I don't know if you saw my biggest video.
No, I didn't. I watched a bunch of them. I think I actually skipped the biggest one and I watched the second biggest one down. Hold on. I'm gonna watch it right now. You boil an egg. I didn't watch the boil an egg. I watched this cursed ass watermelon video where you fucking made the worst taquito watermelon thing I've ever seen in my life. What happens if you boil an egg for 24 hours?
That's my biggest one, is the Target.
What is that?
So if you sort by most popular,
Uh-huh.
and you'll see the one where I'm wearing the yellow hoodie.
Oh, sorry. I thought
about.
Got it. Can I legally steal?
Can I legally steal from Target? Here's the plan. Before I steal, I need to buy the thing so that after it's bought, I can mark it with my pen and put
Hell
it back
yeah.
on the shelf. Then, 3 hours later, phase 2 can start, reconnaissance, which if you guys don't know, is a military mission where you gain intel on the enemy.
There it is, let's go.
Now bro actually has to leave with it.
He better not give me
Fucking
arrested.
mask.
But if one thing goes wrong, I could be sent to jail for 3 years.
Oh, I love the security guard. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. That was awesome. That was fun.
So I haven't been back in that Target since I filmed that.
Sure.
That's so yeah, I don't know. I gotta check it out if I'm
Welcome
there.
back. They'll let you back in. Who cares? That guy's really cool. That bald security guard.
Yeah, he's
dope.
super cool.
Yeah, I love him. Cool. Okay, so a lot of the money is going to be spent on props and things for these videos. We're gonna pay back Dad. I guess my question to you is, how much money is going to be spent? Have you thought about hiring editors? I mean, I guess it's like, if you were to hire somebody, if you were to make a hiring decision, who would you hire?
Okay, I was just talking to my friend about this yesterday, and we came up with a roadmap of
Beautiful.
my hiring plan. So first step is hiring one editor,
Okay.
and that will just allow us to like increase the output, basically like spend more time on shooting because I edit. And then second would be to hire another editor, and then that would allow us to like comfortably shoot 2 shorts a day. Yeah, and then after that it would be to. And let me get your input on this. Either hire an idea gen / researcher or a script writer, which you need both, because you need them to work together, where the script writer works with the idea gen person and turns those ideas into scripts. So I don't know which one should go first, because I would just fill the role that wasn't hired with those two.
Yeah, I personally think that my gut answer to that specific question is, which one do you feel more comfortable doing yourself, right? Do you feel more comfortable doing idea gen, or do you feel more comfortable doing script writing, right? Because if you can develop an understanding of where your weaknesses lie, then you can hire people who can complement your weaknesses, right? So which one do you think you struggle, or do you think you're really good at both of those things?
I think the thing about script writing is that it's easier to do it by the books. So idea gen, you need that kind of special sauce to be really good at idea gen, because there would be an idea gen / researcher. So what that would mean is they would be on, do you know 1 of 10?
Nope.
Software?
Nope.
Okay, so 1 of 10. Have you heard of view stats from Mr. Beast?
Yeah.
So it's like view stats where you can find outliers, but it's better than view stats, just like from the UI and like the way you interact with it and stuff.
Thank you for this tool, because this seems hugely valuable.
Yeah, 1 of 10. Basically he would be, or she would be scrolling 1 of 10 like all day and like watching shorts all day, just like in the shorts feed, and trying to find those outlier ideas. And do you know what an outlier idea is?
Yeah, I'm assuming it's something that's like, hey, do this, like, like this is really smart. Like, dude.
It's like if someone has 1,000 subscribers and then they post a video that has 1 million views, then that's an outlier idea, because they're such a small channel that got explosive
it.
video, right?
it.
So 1 of 10, it just allows you to see all the outliers and
Love
you
it.
could just like, so, but with that, as you know, with YouTube, there's a lot of stuff where it's kind of random and it doesn't really, it's hard to convert into a valuable idea like edits and like random stuff like that, right? So they have to kind of go into it with like glasses on of what would work for Ferd channel.
Got it. Dude, I love that. I think that I mean, I don't like this because this is just me giving advice, which is not the point of this show. The point of this show is to like guide you to the best conclusion, right? And so, but like sometimes I'm lazy. Like I think that like your IP right now, what is going to set you apart is like you're the ideas guy, right? Like about this 1 of 10 platform, right? Like I would invest your time there, right? Because that is the highest level creative decision, right? Is this type of thing. Then I would hire the scriptwriter, right? And I would beat out the outlines, as many outlines as you can based on these like viral ideas that you're pulling from this website, which is fantastic, by the way. I love this content engine, by the way. This is fucking awesome, and I'm going to steal this for myself because this is really smart.
Awesome.
Hell yeah, dude. Cool. So yeah, that's what I would do is I would because this is probably the ideas are the highest like creative decision, right? And then I would hire the script writer. But I think that your plan is perfect, right? Hire the editors first, then the script writer, and then eventually when you continue to scale, somebody to help with ideation. But right now you and your buddy could probably do that yourselves. My question to you is how much of the $10,000 do you plan to invest into hiring the first editor?
So you think I should just go right into it, trying to like hire an editor with the 10K?
So here's the thing is that the one of the limiting beliefs that I think I identified in your intake, and by the way, this does not mean it's true, right? So I'm gonna give this to you, and it's kind of gonna be a judgment. It's gonna kind of maybe feel like a little bit of a gut punch, and then you tell me if it feels accurate or if it doesn't feel accurate. Okay?
Okay.
Here we go. I think that you might believe something like this. I need to wait until I'm more successful before I hire anybody. Is that something you believe?
100%. Yeah.
Got it.
That's something I believe.
How do you
Especially
think
because I already have my friend, which I'm paying. So it's like to hire another person, it just feels crazy, even though that's definitely a limiting belief.
Why does it feel crazy?
It's like once you hire another person, it's like really legit, right? Like then you really have to change how you look at everything because now I would be paying 2 people. So
interesting.
The editor would be pretty much full time, I think, like, because they're going to be having to work on a lot of stuff.
Interesting. So can you label that emotion that you think you're feeling?
Probably fear.
Fear. Interesting. And can you articulate to a high degree like what that fear is making you think and feel? Like, what's the worst case scenario? Like, make it bad. Like, paint a fucking horrible nightmare. Like, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen if you hired somebody?
The worst thing that could possibly happen is that I would start to go negative and the revenue from the channel couldn't support paying my friend and paying the editor.
Interesting.
And yeah, that's the worst thing.
Okay. How, and so then what? So let's say that your channel goes revenue negative and you can't pay your friend and you can't pay the editor. What happens then?
I got to fire the editor.
You got to fire the editor, which puts pressure on his job, and you feel guilty for that.
And ban myself from Chipotle.
You have to got it. So yeah, okay. So if you fuck up this decision, then you're gonna ruin the life of an editor, and you're going to not be able to treat yourself at all. Is that fair?
Right. That's fair. And also, I mean, I think that the revenue I could still pay my friend. I don't think it would go that low, but yeah.
See, I like this, right? Because once we label it, once we actually talk about like what are we actually afraid of, right? Like here's what I've learned about my own fear is that like or Alex Hormozy says like fear is a puddle, right? It looks like a lake, it looks like an ocean, but it's actually a puddle. And once you jump into the puddle, like it's actually kind of fun. You're like a kid splashing in a puddle, right? You realize that it's not as scary as it feels, right? But like the fear stops us from exploring what these actual potentially really helpful things are, right?
Oh, that's so true. And I really commend you for your super ambitious goal of becoming like the biggest business podcast, because you're like a small YouTuber right now, like as am I. So it's so cool to see you pushing past the fear that we all have as creators starting out and going after that really big goal.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I'm fucking nuts. Like, I don't know. Like, but like I've realized that like for the past 10 years, like, I don't know. I've done this thing called my failure resume where I reflect on all of the mistakes that I've made in my career. And I've realized that like the biggest mistakes that I've had are just like being afraid, right? Over identifying with the story of my own success, feeling entitlement, right? And then having those emotions like steamroll the shit out of me and like make me quit stuff, right? Yeah. So that's
yes. Something you said there, over identifying with your own success, is so powerful, because if you really want to be like a machine, which you need to be a machine if you want to be the biggest, you can't care about your successes and you can't really care about your failures either. So all these guys that are on top, like Mr. Beast, Elon, like anyone who's like at the top, right? They don't care so much about the day-to-day like W's or L's. They just care about, it's like a Groundhog Day, right? You know the movie Groundhog Day?
yeah, I love Groundhog Day. Dude, Bill Murray, fucking great. Love it.
Right. So like every day for the people on top, it's just Groundhog Day, where they have certain things they do every day and they repeat it regardless of what happens. It's just the same thing every day.
Absolutely. I have many things to talk about that, but that is going to be later in our conversation. When we bring that back up when we talk about vision and stuff, which I think we're talking about next. Because yes, you're completely spot on. Okay, here's a question. If you were to talk to another creator and you just heard that creator had made $10,000 a month in revenue, or last month in revenue, right? Would you tell them to wait before hiring somebody?
No,
Why not?
because you have such a surplus of money that you don't, let's say, even if you spend $150 per short, like that's 150 times 30, which is like, 4K, right? Something like that, 4 or 5K. So you still have an extra like 2K plus left over. So you put that money to use. Don't just save it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, saving a little bit is always an ESET idea, right? Like you want to have an emergency fund, right? You want to have, honestly, you want to have 3 to 6 months of expenses that like, if shit hit the fan and like mom and dad kicked you out, like, I can buy Chipotle for 3 to 6 months, or groceries, right? You want to have a conservative amount of runway. That's like, okay, if everything blew up and I made no money, I could exist for 3 to 6 months, right? And once you build that, by the way, you will be in an emotionally more what you were talking about earlier with Groundhog Day and Elon and Mr. Beast, they experience emotional detachment, right? You will not be able to achieve emotional detachment if you do not have your finances in order, right? If you do not have 6 months of expenses, it will be extraordinarily difficult for you to achieve emotional detachment. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
There's a John Goodman clip in this movie that I haven't seen, but I get the clip in my YouTube shorts all the time. And he talks about, he goes, America was built on fuck you, right? If you get a windfall of cash, you go and you buy a 30-year mortgage at a very low rate, you stick it all into a mutual fund, and you buy a piece of shit Japanese like car that will fucking survive for 30 years. And then from every decision you make in your life after that is from a position of fuck you people, right? I'm untouchable. I have my kingdom. I have my piece of shit car, my decent house, and a fucking mutual fund with all my money. And I'm untouchable, right? So that's what I would recommend too for your money. But everything else that you just said is perfect, right? It's like, even if you spend a little bit too much money on this, right? Like, the worst case scenario is probably not as bad as I think that you might be thinking. And you would tell another person to do this, right? If they were in your position. So that's fascinating to me.
It's crazy because I was thinking like, I told my friend yesterday, like, oh, I'm going to wait 4 or 5 months to hire an editor, like, which is crazy. But yeah.
Yeah, I think also it's like, okay, let's say that you picked the wrong person, right? Let's say you picked a terrible editor, right? Give me that worst case scenario. What happens there?
Yeah, that's another, I'm glad you brought that up. That's another fear that I think I have is finding the editor is like the voice for
the storytelling.
yeah, exactly. Especially with the shorts where it's so short and concise, and it's kind of like a long video on steroids.
Yep.
So the editor is like really the one with all the control. So if you have an editor that is bad and doesn't really understand your vision, then you lose the soul of your content.
Interesting. So if we were to label that, would you say that your fear is around like, if I hire the wrong editor, then I'm going to lose the soul of my content and my followers are probably going to be upset or leave or something like that?
Yeah, it's like I have you ever heard of Mr. Beast talk about this concept of the hidden click-through rate?
Yes, where your previous thumbnails, the previous viewership experience determine the click-through rate on when someone sees your thumbnail. Is that what you're talking about?
Exactly. And it's the same thing with shorts, just seeing your face. So
Got it.
I want it to be that when a viewer sees my face, they know this guy is always giving me a good experience, a great experience.
Beautiful.
And
Now,
yeah.
I love that. I fucking love that because you give a shit, right? Most people, like, or some people don't fucking care enough, right? You give a fuck about the viewer's experience, okay? Now, okay, so you have this fear of abandonment of your audience if you hire the wrong editor, right? And it's compounded with the other fear of financial risk and of potentially ruining the editor's life if he's working for you full time, right? So let's discuss a solution where like maybe after we understand those fears, let's discuss a potential solution where like those fears are not very likely to ruin your life and ruin your venture, right? So what does it look like if we design a system or design an action plan that says, those fears are not going to ruin ours?
Awesome.
What does it look like? Do you think?
Oh, what it looks like for me is, so on average protocol, which is like if I'm not traveling or anything, which it doesn't happen that much, me and my friends shoot every day, usually, like almost every day, like probably like 5 to 6 days out of the week.
That's sick as hell.
When we're doing that, we have usually like 3 to 4 videos backlogged that I need to edit. And what I would probably do with an editor when I hire them is I would say, okay, work on this one that's backlogged, and they'll come to me and I'll give them revisions, and no, I want you to do it like this because we want the videos on the channel to be like this, and just kind of keep on working with them until they start getting it, and then slowly start delegating responsibility to them with videos.
Hell yeah. Yep. I think that's perfect, right? It's like, yep, that's the answer. Is like you have stuff in the bank, right? I personally would say, here's the amount of money that I'm okay with lighting on fire, right? Like here, like fuck it. Like I'm gonna light $1,000 on fire to gamble with editors, right? I'm going to engage 3 editors. I'm going to build an SOP. You know what an SOP is? Standard operating procedure. Got it. Standard operating procedure is like it's imagine like an FAQ or a walkthrough, right? You're writing an FAQ or a walkthrough. Maybe you're doing a screen recording of you editing, right? Maybe you make a 30-minute screen recording of you editing a short, or just talking about your general overall strategy for editing a short, right? You make these documents, right? You write a guide, you make a screen recording 30-minute video where you're talking into this mic and editing, and you're doing a screen recording with OBS, whatever. Sorry, I'm a nerd. I could really talk about that if you really want to get into it. Or you could use Loom, or you could use fucking Zoom or any of these other tools. But anyway, you make a guide, and then you put that into a Google Drive folder or whatever file system that you have, right? Now suddenly, you ever seen that scene from Batman where the second Batman, Christopher Nolan, with Heath Ledger, and then Heath Ledger goes, "We're gonna have tryouts," and then he snaps the fucking pool cue. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Hell yeah. You need to have tryouts, right? Like take $1,000, light it on fire, give the same short to 3 different editors, right? Maybe not $1,000, whatever the amount is, right? Give them the instructions, right? And see who's gonna fucking bust ass until it's fucking perfect, right? Like because one of them is gonna get it close, okay? It might not be perfect, but like one of them is gonna get it close. Then that's your guy, right? And then you say, cool, hey man, you rock. And maybe some of them suck, right? And by the way, I don't know where you find these people. Maybe they're in your audience. Maybe you take to your social media platforms and you say, hey guys, I'm holding tryouts, right? Because I think another thing that I've seen that YouTubers discount is their potential hiring reach, right? Like you right now have a lot of reach. You are an attractive employer because of your growing social media following and the speed in which you're growing, right? The YouTubers that I've talked to, they very, very, very much discount that, right? These editors want to work for people who are impressive, right? Because that increases the chances that their videos are going to get seen, which increases their value as employees, right? So if they work for you for a year and they make a bunch of cool shit, then they can go and get a higher paying job, and that's like $40,000 a year to them, right? That's the difference between hey, 50 grand versus 90 grand because I just worked for fucking Ferd, and Ferd, I got millions of views, right? So you have a lot of bargaining power when you're potentially employing people, right? And by the way, I'm not saying to take advantage of anybody. I'm saying to pay them all for the tryouts, only do like 3 people. I'm not saying to take advantage of anybody, but there is a way that you could increase your power here while acting ethically, and that is by having these people try out while also giving them enough information to have the opportunity to potentially slam it out of the park for you. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Beautiful. Cool. Sorry if that was a very long tangent, but I realized that I had a lot to say about that. So let's
I
move it.
appreciate that so much.
Absolutely.
Most of the time, supporting a creator on YouTube feels a little bit like charity. But right now, for just $5 a month, you could get access to this community, which might actually help you change your life. This whole show is funded by Patreon. Every single dollar from the Patreon right now goes directly to the talented editors that help bring this show to life. Their names are Michael and Carla, and they're fucking cool. You're joining a community that helps you level up in your business, your relationships, your career, or whatever problem that you're facing. And in there are twice monthly calls where you'll get one-on-one feedback from me and constant support from people in the community that have already solved the problems that you're facing. And you get it all for $5 a month. You get real-time help, faster progress, and a shot at actually solving the thing that's right now keeping you stuck. But guys, please don't just take my word for it. Here's what some of the people in the community have said.
I really enjoy the show, and obviously we've become friends since Patreon. And yeah, it's just a good thing to be involved in. I'm enjoying it.
I really liked the last kind of documentary that you did.
Right.
And I wanted to be friends with you. That was
hell yeah.
Sick.
Right now, it's just $5 a month, and you get the Discord, you get the calls, you get a direct line to me, you get a text message line where you can text me at any time. You also get access to like my book club recommendations called my Influence Index, which is a book club, but it's also like documentaries and YouTube creators that I like, and I write blog posts about them, and you get that every week, which is pretty cool. You get early access to videos and stuff. You also get just like a bunch of other shit. And we could do calls and stuff if you want to do that. And if you join right now, the honest truth is that you just get a lot more of my time while the community is small, right? I don't think this community is going to be super small for very long. So if you want a lot of my time, you might as well join right now. That's just a fact. If you want to join, head on over to patreon.com/Noah Chrysler. It starts at $5, but if you join a higher tier, you get extra perks, future bonuses, other cool stuff, and you get on this damn wall. Guys, also, if you're liking this video, post in the comments and let me know. And like this video. That's pretty cool. I like it when people like the video. That's sick. Guys, subscribing to this channel is also free, and you can always unsubscribe later. And now, guys, back to the show.
Cool. Beautiful. Let's go on to sustainability and creative confidence. Here's a question for you. When one of your videos pop off, do you feel like you know why?
That's a great question. For the most part, yes, but more so after the fact.
Interesting. Speak more to that.
So I kind of think that every video that I post is going to pop off. So like before, I could give you all the reasons why this one's going to pop off and do well. And then I post it and it has a, 70% swipe to watch. And then I remember, oh, well, the hook wasn't as good as I thought it was. But in the flip side, looking at videos that do pop off, I can see, oh, of course this worked well, because it was a fire hook, et cetera, et cetera.
Got it. Okay. So essentially, let me make sure that I'm truly understanding and listening to the things that you say. You believe as you post these videos, you're like, there's a part of you that's like, every single video I post is going to pop off.
I think then everyone will pop off.
And then once you look at the analytics, you realize, okay, like actually some of these hooks weren't as good as I thought when I started, and that sort of thing. Is that fair?
Yeah, it doesn't connect in the way that you thought it was going to connect.
Got it.
And sometimes it's completely, you have no idea like that something is going to connect as strongly as it does. Like with my biggest video, which has 25 million views currently, I thought it was a cool video. I was like, oh, this one might do well, but I didn't. Sometimes there's certain combination of words and certain concepts that people connect with so much that it goes insanely exponential. And it's all about the hook.
Yeah.
It's all about the hook. Like with shorts. With shorts, it used to be called swipe through rate. Now it's called stayed to watch, which they just changed that. YouTube gives you a little percentage, and it's kind of like your click-through rate for a long-form video, which is how many people watch past the first few seconds of your video. It's a different percentage of the video based off the video's longer or shorter. And what a lot of people don't realize, it's actually clear now that it's called stayed to watch. That is the same as your retention.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a 90% stayed to watch, it means that you have a 90% retention on the first like 1 or 2 seconds of your video. So if you have a low stayed to watch, like if you have a 60%, which is really bad, stayed to watch, that means that you're losing 60% of people already in the first 1 to 2 seconds, which that's going to be basically impossible to get a high retention in.
Sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. We could probably have a very in-depth conversation about this because I have a lot of thoughts about this. I think I'm actually very bad at this. This is one thing that like I probably need to do for my business. And honestly, Ferd, at some point, I would love to like jump on another call with you and talk about my business. And maybe we film that or maybe we don't, because like I need help nailing that. And I need to increase the knowledge level of myself and my team about how to crack this. That said, I want to move in this direction here though. And that is that, do you think that your current system is built on skill, systems, or something harder to define?
Can you give me an example of something being built on skill versus systems?
Sure. I think that Magnus Carlsen wins at chess because he has the highest amount of skill at the game of chess, right? So Magnus Carlsen is the best chess player in the world because his skill level is the highest, right? I think someone who wins based on systems, by the way, I am deeply, 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 deeply critical of this man, and I think what he's doing to our government is disgusting. And maybe we disagree on that, Ferd, and hopefully we don't. But I think Elon Musk is an example of someone who has had disproportionate success because he's relying on systems, right? He's built the Tesla factory out in Texas, right? And that is an example of a system that produces outputs for him that are creating disproportionate wealth for him, right? I think Mr. Beast is also an example of someone who is currently relying on systems to carry him towards success. Something harder to define might be like an example of that might be like a music artist or something like that, at the beginning of their career, like maybe like early Ed Sheeran, early Post Malone, somebody like that, who's like, they're just like the muse hits them, right? Thalia.
They have the X factor.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly. So what do you think is currently, do you think that your current system is built on skill, systems, or something harder to define? What do you think is leading to your success?
When you put it like that and how you put it makes sense to me, I think currently it's skill.
Got it. Interesting. Speak more to that.
Yeah. So I think that I don't think I'm exceptionally gifted in terms of anything. I think that I just spent a lot of time trying to get better at figuring out what is an idea that could potentially go viral. And just how I did that was just like watching a ton of shorts every day, like looking at like 1 to 10 and stuff like that, and just loving YouTube. And through that and then that process, I just kind of got somewhat good, at least, to be able to go viral in like a semi-consistent way. So I think that's just a skill that I have. And I don't think I have really any system behind me. It's just like the only system is like a personal system, which I don't know if that would count, where I have a schedule that I stick to, which is like, 8:30 to 10, 30-minute break, 10:30 to 12, and just 6 1.5-hour blocks every day.
Sure. I love that, by the way. That's amazing. And most people don't do that. And also another thing that you said is like, I don't think I have any like specific disproportionate skills or something. You said like, I'm not like the best at anything. Like you don't need to be the best at anything, right? Like that is not what creates success. There's a book that I really love called Atomic Habits where he describes, he talks about yes, dude. Do you remember the part where he talks about the Dilbert author, the guy who made Dilbert?
I don't.
Wonderful. The guy who made Dilbert, he knew how to draw decently well, right? And he was like fairly funny, but he was not the funniest comedian in the world, right? And then he had a decade of corporate experience, right? So like this guy was not the best corporate worker, he was not the best comedian, and he was not the best artist, right? But those three skills, he was the only person, or like one of the only people in the market who was using those three skills at the same time to build comics, right? And so he created Dilbert, right, which resonated with a ton of Americans because of his office worker background, right? It was well drawn because the guy could draw good enough, and it was pretty funny because he was a decent comedian. And those three factors, he wasn't the best at anything, but those three factors made one of the most iconic comic strips in all of the history of comics. Make sense?
That's amazing.
Yeah. So you don't need to you don't need to feel imposter syndrome because you're not the best anything. Like what you're doing is working, right? And that's fucking awesome. And you should feel confident in that, right? You don't need to be fucking Da Vinci. You just need to be you, Ferd. What you're doing is awesome. That said, let me see if this fits on you or if it doesn't. And by the way, this is a shirt that we can make together, right? So if it doesn't fit, let's rip the sleeves off and put on new ones. Here we go. My success is fragile or accidental. Does that feel true to you?
That does feel true.
Well, speak to that. Why does that feel true?
So let me tell you a quick story about what happened to me in my first YouTube channel that had any kind of success. So it was a faceless kind of video essay channel. And I had one video that blew up and got like 3.5 million views on a long form, which is, that's pretty crazy. Like, and I went from literally never having anything go viral, like never having anything get more than maybe 5,000 views on anything I posted, like TikTok, YouTube, anything. And I posted a lot of stuff even before that point. And I had this one video explode, and like all streamers reacted to it and everything, and it was crazy. Then I spent a lot of time working on my next video, and I thought, okay, maybe it's not going to get 3 million views, but it's probably at least going to get 1 million or 500K. And you know how many views that video got?
3,000.
It was like 1,500.
Wow.
So then that kind of just like crushed my whole idea of how I thought YouTube works. And it made me realize that it's not about you. It's about the quality of what you produce.
Can I speak to that for a second?
Yeah.
Let me tell you back the story that you just told me. Okay.
Okay.
You were making videos kind of naive and young, right? You were making videos because why were you doing it? Probably out of love, out of like what?
Out of love.
Out of love. Okay. That is so beautiful to me because I was there too, man. I fucking love this story. You're making these videos out of love, right? Doing something to probably express yourself, right? To probably get people to notice you, right? Like people who create things want to be listened to, right? Why? Why do they want to be listened to? Maybe they weren't listened to as a child. Maybe they maybe they wanted that attention, like whatever it is, right? That's so beautiful to me, right? I was doing this thing out of love. And then for some reason, I was overjoyed because one of my videos was disproportionately successful. And that was amazing. And I thought for the first time in my life, I thought, oh my God, I am capable of more than I realize, right? Your self-concept changed and suddenly it's like, oh my God, I can fly, right? I didn't know I can fly. I've been on the ground my whole life and now I can fly. I can have everything that I've ever wanted. That's amazing. And then when you go and you try to replicate that success, you're back on the ground, right? Like,
Yeah.
fuck me, dude. That's crazy, right? Now, for maybe this is me being dramatic, but I've been through very similar things to what you're describing, right? And one thing that I think I didn't realize earlier before reflecting on my own life is that that is a traumatic experience, right? Like that is trauma, right? And I think labeling that as trauma is actually very beneficial because then you can work through it, right? But if you don't label it as trauma, then like fucking then you can't begin to make emotional progress on it. Is that fair?
That's fair. Yeah.
Here's one conceptualization that I have of the current landscape of digital media. This is tough because I want to be a YouTuber. And so if I'm hypercritical of YouTube, maybe they're not going to like me very much. So
Nah, I'm about to leave. I'm out. Nah.
But no, dude, like we live in a dystopia, okay? Like these giant corporations have essentially created these attention marketplaces where, you know, like people like you and me, creative individuals, now have to fight each other so that we can try to get in front of the eyeballs of the world, right? It's always been this way, but I think that these platforms make it disproportionately more competitive, right? And so, like, in a lot of ways, previously in history and previously in the world, that is known as exploitation, right? They are exploiting our creativity, right? And their systems are not clear. They do not tell us how to consistently make it, right? So we are being exploited by these giant corporations, and we have to sacrifice personally so that we can feed their algorithms as much content as possible. I personally think that that's a little bit disgusting. Does that make sense?
I think I'm going to disagree with you a little bit.
Okay, I love that. Actually, hit me.
Okay.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah. So you said that they don't make it clear how to succeed. Is that fair? That's what you said?
I think that they kind of they don't talk about the algorithm, right? They don't talk about you can learn information about the algorithm, but usually that is from secondary sources, right? That is from people giving like insider information that's kind of hidden and obscured, right? Is that fair or am I wrong?
I think I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that
Okay,
as well. So they have a channel which is called Creator Insider. I don't know if you're familiar with this channel. And
Not a ton.
they've done multiple interviews with the people who are in charge of the algorithm with this. I forgot his name. I think his name is Todd something. He's the person who is like head of algorithm. And they've done one with the guy who's head of Shorts algorithm. And they really state openly and clearly what is required for a video to, you know, do well. And it's like you don't even really need to hear that from them though, because the truth is that YouTube is a company that wants to generate money, right? Like that's what you said. And how they do that is by keeping people watching YouTube so they can see more ads. So it's kind of like a mutual relationship because they need the creators to create great content to keep people watching YouTube. So all that's required for a video to do well is if the audience likes it. And they have like, you know, different metrics to determine if the audience likes it, like surveys and retention and click-through rate, swipe-through rate, stuff like that. But that's really all it is that if the audience likes it, then it's going to do well in the algorithm.
Yeah.
And then we as YouTubers get to use that system.
Sure. Ferd, let me clarify something. I think that I am wrong, actually. You know, I did not know about this channel. Thank you for telling me about this channel. I just subscribed to this channel and I'm going to consume as much as I can from here. And if you have specific things that you think would help me, please send them to me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That would be wonderful. I also think that there is something to be said about like consent and exploitation, right? Like one example of this would be like one way that you could solve your editor problem is by having tryouts with everybody and then having people just try to edit your video and then selecting the best one and you not paying them, right? If they are consenting to that, right? I still think that that's potentially exploitative, right? I think a better way for you to not exploit them is for you to compensate those editors before they edit for you, right? If you instead opened it up to say, hey guys, you know, who wants to try to edit my video? And then you just have like all of your audience potentially have a shot at editing your video, there's potential that those people are doing work for you that is not compensated, right? And if you profit off of that work, I believe personally that that is exploitation of those individuals. Would you agree with that?
I think no.
Maybe this isn't important. Okay, sorry. So what?
No, this is an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
I would say I don't think so, because if they willingly do it, so it's like, imagine if someone puts out a competition this Doritos did this recently with their Super Bowl competition, and they said that the best ad that is made for Doritos, and it's made by people who are fans of Doritos, will be featured in the Super Bowl, and they get paid like $2 million or $1.5 million, something like that. Now, I know a lot of people made ads for Doritos and only one won. So I don't think that Doritos exploited people who made the ads. I think that those people willingly said, we're going to give it a shot, and if we make it, then we make it. But I do agree with you, though, that if Doritos used some of the ads that like didn't win, that would be exploiting them.
Yeah, my point with this is that those people most likely publicly posted their Doritos ads, which led to a lot of organic marketing dollars for Doritos that Doritos didn't have to take on any risk to create, right? So I actually do think that that's an example of exploiting creators, right? I think it's the same. It's the same type of thing with like the lottery, right? Like we are very bad. Human beings you're taking advantage of statistical improbability, right? And a human being's incapability of understanding that well, if that makes sense, or in my opinion, right? Like we all believe when we buy a lottery ticket that there's a decent chance, somewhat of a chance, that we're going to win the lottery. But if you saw a visual representation of you winning the lottery on a fucking spinning wheel, right? The sliver would be so small that that it would be really bad for you to go spend $10 on lottery tickets, because like there's no possible way that you're going to win that wheel, right? We have a bad understanding of the competition in the market, right?
Yeah, that's so smart that you bring that up. It's like humans, we aren't designed to understand really big numbers. We've lived for like the majority of human existence, just like, these are the 10 people around me. Like I have, there's like 20 cows that live down here that I could kill or whatever. We don't understand like a billion or 10 billion, and it's just out of our sphere. So that's really smart.
So I personally think, by the way, I was probably wrong about how shady and like secretive YouTube is about their algorithm, but I do think that the entire system is built on this idea of we are going to exploit the creativity and labor of all of these creative entrepreneurs without taking on any of the risk by paying them for any of this, right? And we are then going to sell ads against their creative output. I personally think, after being in that system for a decade, right, I personally think that is a little bit exploitative. And maybe I'm like, oh, okay, like, get over it, Noah. Sure, I am. I'm over it. But like, I've accepted it, and I've accepted the amount of sacrifice and risk required to have a career doing this. But like, I do think at the end of the day, it's a little exploitative, and I'm happy to debate in the comments if somebody wants to be like, you're actually just a fucking liberal and fuck you. It's like, yeah, okay, like whatever. Sorry, Ferd, we've really gotten off on a tangent, but I thought that was fascinating.
That was really cool. Cool conversation.
Yeah. Sick, cool, beautiful. I wanted to kind of bring you from this belief of my success is fragile or accidental. I wanted to shift that to here's the belief that I think would serve you better. My results come from a repeatable creative system, and the more I study and refine it, the more control I have over my outcomes, right?
That's beautiful.
Yeah. The more you believe that like you have this ability, not because you have the biggest skill, but because you can it's called lateral thinking, right? You're borrowing things from other avenues, right? These things that you've consumed, right? This 1 of 10 plus like your history of consumption of YouTube content, right? You are combining those things to create something that's going to hopefully have repeatable market success, right? And if you can create a system that consistently churns those things out, you will eventually, through sheer volume, beat the odds, hopefully, right? The more you believe that, the less you will feel emotionally reactive when a video doesn't pop off. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, that's really beautiful. And it ties into this concept where if me or you wanted to learn something, let's say, do you play piano?
I don't. I tried. My mom, really bad piano lessons, not trauma.
We've all had bad piano lessons.
Yes.
So if me or you wanted to become a concert pianist, become incredible at piano, if we spent 2 years working on that, then we could get there, right? So it goes with anything that if you invest into the system of doing something every day and trying to get a little bit better at it, you're going to get better just as a human. It's just like, it's like a law of nature.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I think that the way you get to that's like Malcolm Gladwell, 10,000 hours, outliers, that sort of thing. I think that but I think
10,000 days.
10,000 days. Yes, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
10,000 hours is over.
Yeah, that's some pussy shit. 10,000 days, man. Like, yeah, no, but I think that the thing that keeps you in that, I think the thing that keeps you, getting that uptick, right? 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, right? The thing that gets that to happen is your beliefs, right? And if you believe that my success is fragile or accidental, right, that's going to make it more likely that you stop the ticker at day number 462, right? Like, it's like, no. My results come from repeatable, creative systems. The more I study and refine them, the more control I have over my outcomes, right? I think that yeah. Let's move on to the next one because I think we spent a lot of time here. Okay. Let's talk about vision and ownership.
Love that point, by the way, Noah. Thank you for that.
Absolutely, man. I hope that this is genuinely helpful. This podcast is probably gonna be really fucking long, but oh well, fuck it. I don't care. We're cooking. And I like it.
Yeah, cooking.
Vision and ownership. Cool. Great. What does your dream version of this business look like in 5 years? Beyond just being the biggest YouTuber, what does it actually look like?
I think it's going to take a lot more than 5 years to pass Mr. Beast. But
let's say in 5 years, what does it look like in 5 years?
Yeah.
Let's say you're fucking close.
And I don't think that's possible in 5 years, but let's say in 5 years, what I envision is having a fully built out team where all that I need to do is wake up, be pitched ideas, approve the ideas, then they get passed on to the script writer or writers, and then shoot for the whole day. And then when we shoot, we'll get done, give or take 3 shorts, like aim for 3 every day. And then those get passed on to the editors, and then we upload, give or take 3 to 4 fire shorts every single day. And with each of these shorts being 50 mil plus potential.
Got it.
Yeah.
This is a judgment. Can I judge you a little bit?
Yeah, judge away.
Do you think that it's interesting that in your dream scenario, you are only making shorts? That's what you just described to me. You're describing to me a system where you're only making shorts in your dream scenario. Is that strange?
I actually think that's my secret weapon.
Okay,
so
tell me about that.
A lot of people, especially shorts creators, they're kind of like biased against shorts, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna make shorts, but eventually I'm gonna make longs." And I think it probably ties into them just as kids. We all watched longs as kids and watched Mr. Beast and stuff like that. So that's what you really, when you think about your dream for YouTube, that's what a lot of them think their dream is making longs. But for me, I like shorts more than longs. Like, so I really only want to make shorts. I love shorts. And that's how I'm going to be able to pass Mr. Beast, because shorts, they have, I believe, just as good conversion potential as longs for subscribers. And you can make 4 of them a day.
I would say they're
better, right? And you can post 4 to even 5 a day, especially if you have the team built out, and 5 fire 50 mil plus pieces of content a day. Like, you can't beat that with longs. And the reason why it's a secret weapon is because Mr. Beast is never going to do that. He's never going to, I mean, maybe he will, but like, I don't think that Mr. Beast or any of these big creators are going to completely shift their operation, because that's what it have to be. You have to shift your operation completely and the long videos would have to suffer if you want to post 4 to 5 like banger shorts every day, because it's impossible, because that's all you could film is the shorts. There's not enough time to film the banger videos and the banger shorts.
Interesting. So I love it. By the way, I don't think you're wrong. I think this is a very, very smart strategic move, and I don't think you're wrong. So I wanted to start there. Like, you are By the way, you are significantly more successful than me in every metric, right? So like you know more about this than I do. And you're also 7 years younger than me. So like you're fucking slaying it, bro. But like I guess absolutely. That said, hopefully you feel safe and not like this is like gonna, whatever. But like, do you think that that being the spearhead of your strategy, do you think that there are potential downsides to that strategy that you haven't considered?
Honestly, no. I think there's only upsides. The only one that I could think of off the top of my head, which I actually realize is incorrect, is the sponsors. So it's actually ending up that it's better to have sponsors for shorts than it is for longs. If you think about like how it plays naturally, where with a long, when you're watching a long and then the guy is like, oh, just want to stop the video and like talk about, NordVPN or whatever it is. It's like, all right, like, maybe if I really love the guy, I'm going to watch it.
You're gonna sit through it. Yeah.
He does it in a funny way, but like probably 90% of people just like press the little like plus 5-second video on YouTube and you get past it and you don't really feel a connection to the brand or that much, right?
Yep.
Now, what some creators do, like Mr. Beast and Eric, is that they kind of like force you to watch it, which is I think is really annoying by having these like they play like 2 seconds of the ad and then like 5 seconds of the video and 3 seconds of the ad, and it's just really annoying and it feels like you're being forced to watch an ad. Now with shorts, it's totally different because shorts you don't integrate an ad, you make them an ad, which is completely natural. So you make a fire video that's also an ad.
Yep.
And then they can run that ad on TikTok and YouTube, and you basically made them using your skills as a creator a fire ad. And it's like Jenny is actually really good at this. Where Jenny made an ad which was like for this app called Tolan, which is like an AI companion app, and it's a completely fire short, and it's an ad, and it's not like she's lying to you that it's an ad. It's obvious it's an ad, and it has like 20 million views, and it's really entertaining and fire. And I'm sure, I don't know if they have, but if Tolan ran that as an ad, it'd be a profitable ad for them. So it's just like that.
I'm gonna take a second here and actually watch this.
Okay, cool.
Do you know what it's called? Tolan, T-O-L-I-N.
It's called like, look up Jenny Hoyo's Secret Room and you'll find it. It's not her biggest one. It's the one. It's like the one that has like 20 mil.
I built a secret room with $0. This has 177 mil, which is insane.
It's not that one. It's
the
one. If there's another one there.
Ad. Got it. Okay, 30 million. Got it.
I'm building a secret room, but there's nothing in here. So I have to fix this before my mom gets home, but when I tried covering the hole with ramen, it looked even more obvious.
You're gonna get in trouble.
Okay, then you're gonna help me fix this.
Okay, get a piece of drywall, joint compound, and a
Oh, this is sick.
Okay, I got it. What do I do?
It's a brand
next?
integration.
Get your
That's cool.
multifunctional oscillating
What?
tool.
I don't have that. I need a solution fast.
Why don't you just put paper over it?
That's genius. You know, that looks worse than the ramen.
I think I hear your mom at the door.
What?
Hurry, just put a picture frame over it.
So get your own virtual friend by downloading the Tolan app. I like that picture.
I love Jenny so much. What a great ad. That was awesome. I love the animation too. That's so cool. Like one of my favorite things that she does is she's hired people to do like graphics and animations for her shit, and it elevates her content so much. I think that's so cool. Like the fucking cartoon guy coming out of the phone is a really cool visual that like is very sophisticated, and that is like a graphic artist that's doing that. Anyway, sorry. I think this is I think that these things that you've said are all correct. I do want to bring it back to the original question though, and that is that do you believe that there are potential downsides to exclusively focusing and centering your strategy exclusively around short form one-off videos?
I think that you are inherently sacrificing a level of audience connection by doing that, because there's some streamers that are like relatively small, like maybe they only have 100K followers on Twitch or whatever it is, and their communities are crazy committed to them and die hard for them. And a good way to measure how strong your community is looking at the Instagram. So like, no hate but on like these people, but a lot of shorts creators, I won't say exactly who, they have like millions and millions, like 10, 20 million subscribers, whatever it is. And on Instagram, they get like 400 likes. And then if we look at the streamers, which streaming is the most, it's like the opposite of shorts, where they spend the most amount of time directly engaging with the viewers. Now the streamers they get like 20K likes or 15K likes, even though they only have like 100,000 followers or subscribers, whatever. Yeah.
Yep. Can I connect some dots here from a 30,000 feet perspective?
Yeah.
You told me that your success feels fragile, right? Or you said that seems kind of accurate, right? And then you've also said that there's no downside to only doing shorts and only having my strategy be around shorts. And at the same time, we're also cognizant of the fact that by only doing shorts and only doing that, it also reduces the amount of connection we feel with the audience, right? Are those three things
that they feel with me because I like them? So
yeah, no, yes, of course. But does that make sense? Are all of those three things simultaneously? Yeah. So my thought. By the way, I'm not saying to shift your strategy fundamentally. That is not what I'm saying, right? I'm not saying, fuck shorts and start doing long form content. Fuck that. No. But it's is there a version of your business where you can, maybe you're the first guy or one of the better guys, or maybe somebody else has done this successfully and you can learn from them, right? Where you can develop a stronger sense of relationship with your audience, right? By leveraging shorts. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So I think one example of this is one example that I'll cite, and maybe this is a bad example. Okay, there's two TikTokers that I think do this pretty well. The first one is Hank Green, which doesn't count because he has an extensive career as a long-form content creator, so maybe he's a bad example. But he blew up on TikTok, and there are people who only know him as the TikTok guy, right? The reason why they feel a strong sense of community with him is because they understand what he values, right? I also think Jenny is actually a pretty decent example of this because Jenny has values in her content. Right? Jenny, we know that Jenny values frugality, right? She values frugal living, right? We also know that she values, I think she values family. I think that she's not super self-aware about that one and making content about that, but she makes these videos with her mother, right? I think that implicitly communicates that she values family. And so by locking down her North Star, right? It's healthy eating, right? That's one of the values that she's trying to, adopt into her brand is healthy eating because she has all of these dietary restrictions because she has some gut stuff going on, right? So she has a lot of strong feelings and thoughts around healthy eating, right? So these are three values that she has that her brand identity has, right? And by knowing that that's her North Star, then her shorts are naturally informed by those values, right? And I think that those values are probably, it's not like she sat down, I don't think, and said, these are my values, right? I've met Jenny's mother. Jenny's mother is my favorite person. She is viciously supportive. She is wonderful. I love her. And I think she has instilled these values in her daughter to a point where her daughter isn't even aware that these are her values. They're just how she sees the world, which is so cool. But sometimes sometimes we have to develop self-awareness about values. So I don't know, what are your thoughts there? Do you think that potentially bringing these values into your content and then what do you think about these ideas?
I think what you're saying is really interesting and it speaks to a larger point about brand in general. So I forgot who said it, but I heard this guy say that if you can't be parodied, then you don't have a strong brand. So if you think about Trump or Elon or whatever you think of these guys, they have a really strong brand, and especially Trump, it's so easy to parody Trump, right?
Yep.
Now, you want to, if we try to think about someone, for me right now, I don't think you could really parody me. My brand isn't to that point where I could be parodied, how Mr. Beast is a great example too, where you could really easily parody Mr. Beast and people do it. So it's really good to think about what are you? Is it easy for a viewer to just know who you are, and kind of, it's a consistent vision of what you are.
Yep. Now, here's my way to solve this, right? And because when people do this, okay, I do marketing. My career has been in marketing, right? And I've met a lot of fucking shill fuckers that I want to like that make me want to put a gun in my mouth, where it's like, oh, like what should we tell the people so that we could deceive them into buying our thing, right? What do we stand for? And it's like, fuck you. Like, you know, like don't pull these stupid bullshit corporate values out of thin air, right? Like, you're a human, right? You're a human. Understand what your actual values are, right? Like, develop self-awareness, right? The way you do this is you think about why you make the shit, and you go beyond, well, just because I like it. Like, you know, like that's where people stop. I make stuff because I like it. No, you don't. Like, that's wrong. Sorry to say, but do some work and really start to ask yourself, why the fuck do I make the shit that I make? I can tell you why I make the stuff that I make. Can I tell you? Is that weird, Ferd?
Yeah. No, let me hear it.
It's deeply personal and kind of weird. My sister and I didn't really get along very much growing up. She's a very strong-willed person, but like she would kind of give me a hard time all the time about quite literally everything, right? And so I spent a lot of time feeling very alone and misunderstood as a child, right? Then I would watch dozens of hours of YouTube content every week because I would like, you know, be at home and there'd be a computer, and we lived in kind of like we lived far away from the school, right? So all my friends grew up in these cul-de-sacs and I couldn't go hang out with them, right? So instead I sat at home on the computer and I watched YouTubers, and I loved these YouTubers, right? So you have a kid who experienced like kind of like bullying, love her to death, but like I was bullied as a child by someone who lived in my house, awful, right? And then who didn't have a ton of like friends that he could go hang out with at any time, right? And then who watched the internet, right? And I felt feelings of safety and connection when other places in my life I felt misunderstood, right? That is why I make things, right?
Same here.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But get beyond that, right? Really dig into your life. Maybe don't do it on this podcast because that can be a very personal thing, right? But I love ChatGPT for this. I turn off, if you get ChatGPT Plus, the $20 a month version, not the Pro one, which is $200. No, $20 a month. You download the mobile app. You enter a voice conversation with it. You turn off advanced voice mode because advanced voice mode is like the dumbed down piece of shit model. You use standard voice mode. You have to turn off the setting inside of your settings. And then you have a very, very long conversation where you have ChatGPT interview you as if he's like a Freudian psychologist, and you try to develop self-understanding of what your values are. Then you bring those values into your content. Why do I make things? What pisses me off, and why does it piss me off? What experiences in my life lead to me feeling anger, right? And what can I intuit about my values as a result of that anger, right? If you start asking those questions and having those conversations with ChatGPT and try to develop that self-understanding, you will lock down your values, and you can bring those things into your brand, and you will have exponentially more success than most of the people on this platform. That's something that I believe. Fair?
That makes a lot of sense.
Sick. Sorry. I could also be full of shit. Maybe it's all just like fucking get the right hook. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's the good advice. Like, but fucking try it. Try it. And if I'm wrong, then fucking tell me 6 months from now, hey, Noah, fuck you. You were wrong. I wasted all my time. Right? Like, I want to know. Okay. I could be wrong. Fair, Ferd?
Yeah, totally fair.
Sick. We got one more. I'm so sorry that this podcast has been so long, but I really, truly appreciate you coming and talking to me, because like you're going to be famous as fuck someday, and I hope I had some small help to that. Fair?
No, this conversation is awesome. I'm really appreciating all the insight that you're giving me.
Beautiful. Last one is revenue readiness. Cool. How often do your views fluctuate, and how does that affect your plan? And how does that affect how you plan your business moves?
Okay, so my views, either I'm getting like millions of views a day, or I'm getting like 400K to 500K views a day. So if we look at the last really like 90 days of my view chart, it's like, right? So that's just because I can't post every day. So if I could post every single day, and that's just because we shoot almost every day, it's difficult to have that editing turnaround, especially if I want to like really put a good effort into editing. if I could post every day, then it's like the peaks wouldn't go down, because as they're going down, another video would pop off and then it would replace the valley, right? So they do fluctuate a lot. And my baseline, I would say, if nothing is going on, no videos popping off, it's probably like 450K.
Got it. Your baseline is around 450,000 views. Got it. Got it. How does that affect, one, how does that affect you emotionally? And two, how does that affect the way you make business decisions?
Well, the interesting thing is that it feels low to me, which is like kind of funny, because if I would have gotten 450K views like 10 months ago, it would have been like, whoa, like that's crazy. Like, you know, I'm going viral, but now it's just like an everyday thing. So I guess it affects business decisions in terms of that. I know I'm going to make about $70 to $100 a day. So that's kind of like my baseline.
Got it. Okay. Interesting. So like you kind of have this like mental understanding that I'm going to make $70 to $100 a day. Does that kind of does that affect the budget that you use for shorts?
It's like I can get Chipotle 5 times in a day. It does.
It really goes back to Chipotle. I love that so much. That's so funny.
Guys, it's like I know I can spend basically a decent amount on shorts every day. Like I don't have to worry about that. So I can just I'm like probably top 1% Amazon users maybe.
Got it. For props for your videos. Got it. Okay. Do you think that there are potential downsides to tying your, doesn't mean I'm right, by the way. Do you think that there are potential downsides to tying your shorts budget to this mental projection that you have of like $70 to $100 a day? Do you think that there are downsides to that?
I think that there are downsides to that, in that it might make me fearful to spend more if I need to spend more on something. Because if a short pops off, like if it really pops off, you're going to make about $2,000+ So spending, $400 on a short, which would be crazy, it makes sense if you make $2,000, right?
Guys, if you would like to be my next guest on Chasing Dragons, go ahead and apply in the description down below. There's a Google form down there where you can tell me a little bit about your business and why you think you would be a good guest.
Revenue readiness. This is specifically about your view fluctuation and your readiness to acquire brand deals, right? Because in your intake, you told me that that you feel negative emotions about potentially doing brand deals because your views are fluctuating so much. Do you believe that, or do you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Because it's like, if I'm a brand and I look at my channel and I see 10 million, 3 million, 20K, it's like, well, I don't want to be the one where he gets 20K, because that would feel like a waste of money. And if you look at someone like, let's say, we're talking about Jenny, so we'll take Jenny as an example. Jenny doesn't really get below 500K. So as a brand, I'm like, at least I know I'm going to get 500K.
Yep. So I personally believe that we have identified another area where there is an ocean of fear, right? And if you jump into the ocean, it is a puddle of fear that is this big, right? So if we probe at this, right, like why might that thought be illogical?
I think that it could be illogical because at a certain point you have to just try. So you have to like just dip your feet into like getting a brand deal, and you just got to like open yourself up basically and say, if anyone wants to do a brand deal, I'm here. Because and then you just see, like, you don't want, like, it's like I've heard Alex Ramosi talk about this, that you want to let the customers kind of like dictate what you're worth in a sense. So you don't want to say like put a cap on your price. You want to see what the price could be. So maybe the smart thing to do is just say, brands, I'm open. Anybody want to talk?
Yep. Value-based pricing instead of cost-based pricing, right? Yep. Let the change your pricing based on the customer, right? Based on like, because there's a demand marketplace out there, and certain people in the market need your services or need the value that you could provide them much more than other people do, right? some random thoughts on this, suggestions, ideas, whatever. The thing that you the values, the brand values stuff, the making content about values and locking down your brand values and strengthening your audience with those things, this will directly help this. It will take 6 months for this to actually have an effect, but like your baseline views, in my opinion, will go up because of those things that you've talked about with click-through and stuff, right? Like the previous experiences that people have watching your content, it will inform them who you are and what your values are, right? And that will increase your baseline level of views because they will believe that they have an understanding of who you are and what you represent, right? So that will help you increase your baseline level of views. That's a theory. Maybe I'm full of shit. Maybe it's all hooks. I have no idea. But so that's the first theory. And the second theory is that I bet you that you could create, if you really tried and you spent 4 hours on the problem, talking about it with business people, talking about it with ChatGPT, I bet you could create an appealing offer to a brand. Have you read $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi?
I have.
Beautiful. I fucking love you. You're sick, dude. Most people are lazy as fuck. They're like, I've seen his YouTube shorts. It's like, fuck you. What? Read the book, bitch.
I read it 3 times.
Oh, you're cool, Ferd. We're gonna be good friends, dude. Sick. Cool. Apply the value equation to your brand deals, to your outbound brand deals, right? Also, dude, you have no website. You have no way for me to give you money, right? That sucks. Like, you got to solve that problem.
Oh, I own the domain shortgrow.com.
I love shortgrow.com.
Isn't that cool?
That's so cool. Are you thinking about doing a brand expansion where you teach people how to grow shorts?
That was the idea. That's why I bought it. But
Hell yeah.
like that's a great domain, shortgrow.com.
That's a fantastic domain. Yeah. Even if you flip that, you could probably sell that for 20 grand or something. I don't know, down the road. But I love that. I think that that's a fantastic business venture. I do think that that's very different than what you're currently doing. And I think
totally.
It would require a lot of infrastructure. That said, you could also just start offering coaching, but I don't think that that's as scalable as reinvesting in what you're currently doing, right?
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah. So I think that I think you don't do shortgrow.com right now. I think you do Ferd.com, Ferd brand deal. Yeah, Ferd.com.
Yeah.
Specifically,
Work with Ferd.com.
Exactly. And that is your that website is specifically for brand partners, right? And on that website, you are applying the Alex Hormozi value equation of like, hey, I'm aware that, or maybe you don't lead it like this, but like something that you think about internally is like, okay, sometimes my shorts get 20,000 views. Other times they get 500,000. Sometimes they get 20 million, right? What does that mean for me with a brand partner, right? Okay, well, this person, here is the horses that they have in the race. They want 100,000 views guaranteed, right? So maybe the deal is, hey, for X number of dollars, depending, and maybe the budgets scale on what the customer has, right? Hey, for 10 grand, I will make shorts about your company until we achieve 100,000 views. Are you cool with that, right?
Oh, so that means that multiple shorts.
Yeah, maybe.
Potentially.
I don't know. Like, what levers do you have under your control? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. So kind of you structure it in a way where they get a guarantee of what they want.
Yes, potentially, or maybe not. Maybe they don't need a guarantee. I don't know this market super, super well because like my channel is so small that I don't have a ton of inbound deals or outbound, or I have no outbound right now. But I have no inbound deals, right? So I don't know exactly what the market wants, but I bet you if you hit the deep research button with ChatGPT Plus, I bet it would find it could, and you asked it, hey, what do brand deals, do some research into what brand deals, what brands are looking for in the influencer marketplace, right? What is most important to them? Is it overall views and impressions, right? Like what is their most important KPI that they are measuring ROI with, right? Because it's probably top line reach. And what could I do? Don't ask ChatGPT this. You or maybe ask it in a different conversation after you get your answers about like what's most important to this market, right? Then you could say, cool, how could I reduce risk? Because here's the thing that people don't understand about these brands, right? I've worked for some of these fucking places and like they're usually filled with like terrified people, if that makes sense. Like these people are terrified of taking on too much financial risk and then having their boss go, you fucked me, right? You're fired, right? That is how every single brand deal person works, right? So you need to convince, you need to get, here's how I would do this. You find the brand deal person, you get them super excited about working with you, right? Hey man, if you worked with me, this could fucking you could electrify your brand and sell a fuckload of shit, right? And then beyond that, like you could tell people what your brand stands for if you work with me, right? There's a direct ROI play, but then there's a branding play, and get them super excited, right? Get them super jazzed up at the beginning. That's how you do that. Then you say, hey, brand deal monkey that works for a boss, right? Like, here's how we're going to prove to your boss that you didn't fuck up by working with me, right? We're going to give you a guaranteed number of impressions or views, right? And I'm going to bust my ass and make videos until I get your brand in front of 100,000 people, right? Or whatever number you want to set. That is one potential way that you can make an irresistible offer for a brand deal partner, right? You take all of those appeal strategies, you throw that on a website, and then you start doing calls to action, or potentially, you probably don't want to do that because like the brands, you start doing calls to action on your non-primary thing because you don't want your audience to think you're a shill, right? So instead you do calls to action on your Instagram, and then in your YouTube bio, in your about section, right? And then occasionally maybe you pin a comment about like, hey, if you're a brand that wants to work with me, fucking go check out my website and that sort of thing. Sorry, Ferd, you look a little shell-shocked. I'm sorry for talking so long, but this is a lot of fun.
I'm listening. I'm trying to pay attention to everything you're saying. Yeah.
Beautiful. Any questions, thoughts about this at all?
I think that makes a lot of sense with the brands. It's definitely something I'm gonna have to learn. So just kind of go into it like with a beginner's mindset and take time, learn it. Like I'm sure there's a brand out there that's willing to work with me for some amount of money, like, you know, let's say $100. Like there's probably a brand that's willing to take me on for $100.
Yes, there is one to validate that. For sure there is. I'll give you $100. You want $100? Fucking make a short about me. I'll give you $100. Let's fucking roll, baby. Like I would kill for one of your shorts for $100 on your platforms, cross-posted everywhere. Sounds fucking great, Ferd. I'll give you $100 right now. Do not price anchor yourself that low, right? Okay. Like fucking I've said a lot of things in this, and I'm a little bit tired because this conversation has been long and I've been thinking really hard. But go back through this video and go back to the things that I was saying, and try to take notes on exactly my advice, right? Because it's like try to create an offer that doesn't price anchor you super low, and an offer that could scale based on the value that you could bring, right? Try to reduce and mitigate the negative potentialities that brands could have from working with you, so that nobody gets fired from hiring you. And if you can do that, they will pay you fuckloads more than $100, guaranteed. Make sense?
Makes a lot of sense.
Beautiful. Here's the limiting belief that I think you had. Let me know if you resonate with this. I can't get brand deals until I'm consistently getting big views. How much does that fit you?
That is 100% what it is.
Beautiful. Here's the reframe that you're aiming for, okay? Brand deals aren't just for consistent creators. They're for creators with a clear voice and a loyal audience, and I can build relationships now that grow with me. Also, I think something in that is like, don't wait. Do it now. Do it now. Like, you know, like be scrappy. Don't wait for external validation. Try to understand the incentives of the people who are trying to pay, who are willing to potentially pay you money, and then build an offer around those people's incentives and their fears. If you can understand their fears, you can make a deal for them that mitigates their fear. And if you can do that, if you can get them jazzed up and then you can mitigate their fear, then like, bro, they're gonna fucking pay you. You're gonna make it rain on you, my guy. Cool. I believe we are at the end of the conversation. Do you have general thoughts? I'm going to give a summary at the end here. General thoughts about things that we've talked about, or anything that we talked about in this last section.
General thoughts on what we talked about is that I think that the approach was super interesting about finding the limiting beliefs, addressing them, and reframing them. So that was super powerful. And I'm definitely going to watch this over and just like really look at everything, you know, you told me, and super valuable.
Absolutely.
More people should come on Chasing Dragons. So
Thank you.
your
we
weakness to
appreciate.
fly.
I love that. Yes, you can apply in the description below. You can send me an email, contact@noahchrysler.com. I also might make a Google form, but I haven't yet. And Ferd was looking for it, and Ferd's awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show, genuinely. Let me give you a summary of the things that we talked about. We first talked about hiring. It seems like your limiting belief was, I need to wait until I'm more successful before I hire anybody. Seemed like you had some fear around that. The reframe of that belief is, hiring isn't a reward for success. It's the engine that creates my success. The second thing we talked about was sustainability and creative confidence. It seemed like the limiting belief you had around that was, my success is fragile or accidental. The reframe that would likely help you is, my results come from a repeatable creative system. And the more I study and refine it, the more control I have over my outcomes. The third topic was vision and ownership. The limiting belief that it seemed like you have is, I'm the YouTuber, not the CEO, right? The reframe that would help you is, I'm not just the face of the brand. I'm the architect of a creative business, and my job is to design a system that can scale beyond me. Also things about like values in there, like, what are my actual values, right? Not as a brand, but as a human being. Why do I do the things that I'm doing? Like, who hurt me as a kid, and why did it manifest into a weird level of drive to have success on the internet, right? That's weird. Why am I doing this? Like, figure out that shit and wrap that into your content, and that will create brand loyalty, right? The last one was revenue readiness. We talked about, I can't get brand deals until I'm consistently getting big views. That's your potentially limiting belief. And then the reframe is, brand deals aren't just for consistent creators. They're for creators with a clear voice and a loyal audience. And I can build relationships now, emphasis on now, that grow with me. Relationships with brand partners that you can start building now that will grow with you as your brand grows. It's not you don't need to wait until you make it over their high jump bar, right? So that you are now qualified to work with them. You need to send out a dozen emails that say, hey guys, I'm doing this fucking really cool thing, and I want to try to figure out how to work with you, right? What are you interested in? What are you afraid of, right? How can I mitigate your risk while making this tantalizing for you, right? Go talk to 50 customers, potentially 50 brands that potentially could be interested in working with you. Don't anchor yourself. Don't give them an offer of $100, right? Just go send out some feelers, right? I call this probing the universe. Go probe, see what's possible. They might say fuck you or not respond, but if you send 20 messages, maybe you'll find 2 people who are like, oh fuck, like nobody ever asked this question, right? That's beautiful. All fair?
That's awesome.
Dope as hell. Cool. I'm going to do a plug, Ferd. Why don't you do a plug first? What should people do? How can they follow you? How can they learn about you? What do you want from people?
Just look up FERD2 on YouTube and you can watch my shorts.
Hell yeah. Go do that.
Maybe in the future, if you're watching this in like 5 years, you can check out shortgrow.com.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. He's an empire builder. I love that. Sick. I'm going to do some plugs for me. I've recently worked on some of my own limiting beliefs. I believe that for many years, I have been undervaluing the amount of potential value that I could give to creative entrepreneurs. I think that I have dealt with a lot of imposter syndrome. And after confronting those feelings and really truly analyzing what I believe about the market and what I believe about the people in this market giving advice, I think that for many of them, I think I work harder than some of them. And by the way, that's not because I'm so great. It's because I'm weirdly obsessed with this because I'm a weird nerd, right? I also think that I have an education in this because I went to the Rochester Institute of Technology and I didn't realize how valuable my degree from there is because it's given me a very good foundational understanding of branding, marketing, and data analytics, right? So I've realized that I'm obsessive about this shit, and I think I could have the potential to provide, and probably am on some level providing, some of the best advice to creative entrepreneurs in the market right now. If you want to work with me, please let me know, because right now I'm just going to be straight up about this. My business is not bringing in much money at all, right? I am fully supporting myself off of Patreon. And after really thinking about this revenue model does not make a ton of sense for my business, right? I could be providing a ton of B2B value for like creative entrepreneurs, right? And so I really think one of my goals is to become one of the best business coaches in the world. And if you want to work with me, I would love to work with you. We would probably do like you would get a direct line to me, that hopefully you wouldn't abuse, and then we would do some calls a couple times a month to work on your business and help you work on things. My approach is I love marketing and that sort of thing, and sales systems and systems thinking, but I also love psychology, right? Like and so that's part of like my approach as well. If that interests you at all, please send me an email to contact@noahchrysler.com. I would love to work with you. Whatever price point you can afford, I'm happy to scale. I haven't thought through a pricing structure for this yet. And so if you're interested in working with me, please send me an email and let me know if you have like an approximate budget. And I'm pretty flexible, right? Because right now I'm making $100 a month on Patreon, and I have editors right now that I'm paying like more than that need to be paid more, and I need money. So yeah, that's the pitch. Sorry if it's long. Thank you all so much for watching. Ferd, thank you so fucking much for coming on the show, buddy.
Thanks, Noah. And you guys should definitely hit up Noah and work with him because he's going to provide you a lot of value.
I appreciate you. You're the best.